Greetings, I am Tom Earl. On this week's episode, we reflect upon 6 ways we can bring balance to our life. Greetings, I am Tom Earl, and this is my year of balance. This can either be listened to as a podcast or watched as a video. All of that at tomearl.com/YOB for Year of Balance. So you know how I like to get started is by aligning our breath, our intentions, and our energy to each other. So think of an intention you have for listening to this podcast, for watching this video, for life, for today. Think of an intention, my friends, and get ready. We're starting this one off on a goofy note. Don't worry, we'll get there. Okay? Ready? Breathe in through your nose. And exhale. One more time, breathe in through your nose. And exhale. I want you to think of one area of your life that you're really excited about. Think of one area of your life that you are excited about. One area of your life that brings you joy. Is it your health, your work, your family, your friendships? Is it one of your passions, your hobbies, your sleep, a really good book you're reading? Think of one area of your life that is bringing you joy. And within that area of your life, think of one thing you are grateful for within it. So for me, one area of my life I'm thinking of that I feel like is really rocking right now is my health. And one thing I'm grateful for is that I have the freedom to decide how much sleep I get. So think of one thing you're grateful for. And then I want you to breathe in through your nose one more time. And as you do so, stretch. Here we go. Breathe in. And breathe out. And give me an air high five. Boom. Please tell me that you did it. Air high five me one more time. Boom. Yes, indeed, my friends. It is good, even if it feels a little goofy. It is good to do things like that because it's an interruption of our day. It's a shift. It's an intentional moment to reflect and to align our energy with the intentions that we have and to get our body in tune with it as well. I say this, I start every time because I want to make sure that at least one time a week, I know if you're listening to this podcast every week, there's at least one time in the week I know where you are taking an opportunity to do this. But I want to encourage you and remind you every week to do this every day. Find a couple moments while you're waiting for the elevator. Anything you're doing there, you have 2 seconds, 2 minutes. Just do that. Think of an intention, align your breath, think of something you're grateful for. It will pay off, my friends. And so I've been saying it every week that this is my year of balance. And so what I want us to do in this great month of October is to take some time to reflect upon where are we at in our year of balance. Spiritually, when you think of the year divided into 6 months, they say that around March until about August or September, the earth and our spiritual energy all go outward. You think of spring, everything starts to bloom out. Everything starts to come out of its shell, come out of hibernation. Even us ourselves, you might notice in your own life that you start to become more active. You start to take more risk. You start to be more sociable. All these things throughout those months. And then around September or October till about February or March, everything starts to go inward, starts to reflect. The days get shorter. The animals, they start to migrate or hibernate. The trees, they drop their leaves and they start to go within and preserve their energy. And we too, you might notice that you become more reflective. Maybe it's because there's holidays around that time, but we also ourselves, our energy goes within. And so I thought in October, the start of that time, it'd be good for us to reflect upon, where can I invite balance into my life? That's what's been the driving question for me this entire year. Where can I invite balance into my life? And I'm going to share with you some places that I have found success when I invite balance into these areas, that my health, my happiness, and not just emotional things too, though, like my productivity, my success, all these things, they start to skyrocket by sometimes even putting a little bit of energy into them. And when we started this, maybe when you're hearing me say some of these things, you might hear yourself reflected in what I'm saying. And what I want to remind us to do is not to be hard on ourselves. It's not to say, oh, darn it all, Tom's right. I need to have balance in that area too. This is something I'm always messing up on. I want to invite us to, instead of doing that, to have balance in that and that be easy on yourself. Because really, what is balance is that we're shifting our attention. So what happens in a lot of these areas is that where I give my attention, it's going to give direction. And so if I'm giving my attention to a certain area of my life, that means my energy, my resources, my time, my thinking, my creativity, my expression is going to be directed towards that, which means another area of my life will be neglected. And that's fine, as long as it is balanced out by us eventually swinging the pendulum back, because we can't focus on everything at one time. So when you hear something maybe hit a nerve, or you hear something resonate, rather than getting upset with yourself, just remind yourself that the solution is easy. All you need to do is shift your attention slightly to the other thing. So it's that simple, my friends. So as we go through this, be easy on yourself, okay? First thing, the first area of my life that I have found massive success when I bring balance to is between my personal and my professional life. Now this right here, I'm sure I'm not the first person to walk the face of the earth to have this balancing act. Is that, when you become really passionate about your work like I am, that you find that a lot of your energy goes into your work. But another thing is that, especially when we're socialized as men, right? And I'm putting up bunny ears. So when we're socialized as this is a man, so us as men, we're socialized to get our needs met through our work life. That the way we contribute to our family and our society, the way we find significance, the way we find variety, all these different things, we're socialized to find that through going out to work. And then women, of course, it's binary because it's a social construct we're talking about. Then women are socialized to find all of that at home because that is the social norm that is perpetuated in patriarchy. Men should go work. Women should stay home. So women are taught to meet their needs at home, with the family, with relationships, those kind of things. And so for all of us, it's especially helpful to bring self-awareness in that we can't get all of our needs met by just doing one of those things. I can't get all of my needs met by just working all the time, nor can I get all my needs met by just spending time in my personal life. There has to be a balance. But for me, when you talk about a percentage, I was spending probably about 90% of my attention, expression, and time in my professional life, and only about 10 to 20% in my personal life. And so what I've done this year is balance that out. And I found that, it's really a joy, yes, to express myself in my work by creating these videos and my podcast and my music and my poems and all of these things that I consider to be my profession. That's really fun. But you know what else is fun? Is expressing myself in my intimate relationships. Thinking of what's a really creative way I can show someone that I love them, and just thinking about it for a week or two and taking my time on it. Same thing I do with the song, and then sharing it and just seeing the person's reaction to that creative way to express your love. Or if I think of in my personal life, this includes health. What's a creative way I can be healthy? Or what's a creative way I can do all these other things? When I bring those same things I love doing in my professional life to my personal life, I find that balance, it just makes me so much happier, more well-rounded, joyful, all of these different things. So my friends, I want to invite you to think of whichever one of these you find yourself more balanced in right now. Let's say you're spending a lot of time in your professional, or let's say you're spending a lot of time in your personal life, and the other one is being neglected. I want you to think of what are 2 things that you really love about whichever one of those you're spending the most of your time in. For me, it was expression, and for me, it was growth. That's what I really love about my professional life, is that I get to express myself and I'm constantly growing. And so think of yours, and then find, how can I bring that to the other one? And so what I did is, like I said, I thought, well, how can I express myself, or how can I be expressive and creative in these areas of my personal life, and how can I grow and experience that pleasure of growth? And I found that balance was amazing. And so that's my invitation for that. Here's my second one. It's finding balance between the big picture and the to-do. The big picture and the to-do. Here's what I used to be all about. I was the to-do list champion. I was the to-do list slayer. You've heard me talk about this on earlier podcasts. I'm sure of it. I used to just have like 3,000 to-dos, and I would just, my whole day was all about knocking off those to-dos. And yet what I found was that I still didn't feel fulfilled. I still didn't feel, even if I did every single to-do on my to-do list, I still didn't feel like I was accomplishing something. And that's because we have to bring balance between the to-do and the big picture. Asking myself, what do I really want? What is the relationship between this to-do in the context of the bigger picture? So if I start with, what do I want my life to look like? But really, what do I want my life to look like? And spending more time in remembering that. When I do that, the stress of constantly trying to knock off to-dos disappears. I have found that when I'm feeling really anxious, it's because I'm often asking myself, what do I need to do today? And when I do that, there's a never-ending amount of things I can think of. But instead, when I say, what do I really want? Or who am I really? Or who do I really want to be? Or what is the real outcome I'm after? That is about maybe 3, 4, 5 things. Be a really good friend and family member. Be an awesome coworker and employer. Create brilliant, bold, and wonderful music. Have an awesome celebration academy that connects people from all over the world. And love every single aspect of the journey. Boom, it's like 5 things that I might want in a day. And when I say that, it's so much easier than if I was to say the to-dos out of every single one of these things. And so instead of just saying to-dos, I say, what is my outcome? And my outcome really today, instead of saying, for let's say social media, instead of saying, well, I need to figure out what I'm going to post, and then I need to write the post, and then I need to schedule the post, and then I need to post it, and then I need to reply to people's comments, and then I need to check my analytics. Instead of saying all those to-dos, which are going to get me stressed out, say the real outcome is just to share content that builds community and allows people to experience transformation and joy. And as long as I do something that works towards that outcome, I'm doing great. And when I remind myself of that, that balance in perspective just brings me so much peace. And so I want to invite you to do that, is to balance it out, spend more time in the big picture versus the to-do. Or if for you, you feel like, you know what, I'm always dreaming, I'm always in the big picture, balance it out by spending a little bit of time in the to-dos and the action items into making that big picture happen. Here comes my third one. The third area of my life that I have found when I bring balance to, my joy, happiness, and productivity increases is this one right here, relaxation. I have found that if left up to me, I will work 24/7, 365 days of the week. And that's because I run a lot of different businesses. I'm the director of a nonprofit. I also have an expression and sound company, which includes my spoken word, my poetry, which is the same thing, my music, also produce music for people. I do the live and online expression session. Then I also have the Celebration Academy and the podcast and all these different things. And I love all of it. And so for me, I could just spend my day just going through and working and working and working and working. And yet, when I do that, I find that eventually I start to slowly but surely kind of resent my work. Or I start to slowly but surely feel a little bit burnt out. Or my creativity isn't as expressive as it once was. And sometimes what happens too is my body says to me, this is not working. And it tells me that in the form of a cold or the flu or something like that. And so I found instead of really pushing it to that extreme, that I just need to bring balance to it. And the way I do that is by scheduling it in. And so what I've started to do is before the month even starts, I find one weekend of the month, which is going to be my relaxation weekend. And that Saturday is going to be my day where I'm just expressive. I do some art, I draw, I play the guitar. I do just really fun things like that. Hang out with some friends, go out to eat, I see a movie, do really expressive and fun community things like that. And then Sunday is my day that is all about laying down. I lay down and binge watch TV. I read my favorite books. It's all about rest. And I find that when I add that one weekend of the month, and if for you, you're thinking what Tom 2016 thought, or Tom early 2017, if you're thinking, one weekend of the month, are you crazy? Do you know how much work I can get done if I just work that whole weekend? And you're thinking, Tom, you have no idea how busy my schedule is. There's no way I could ever give one weekend of the month. What I'm telling you is the same thing I told myself, is that it's worth it. I'm telling you, when you allow yourself to relax, when you bring balance to that work schedule, when you take time to recover and recuperate, those 2 days out of 30 or 31, when you do that, I'm telling you, when you come back, you're going to be even more creative, even more expressive. Your brain had time to process things. You're going to have better ideas. You're going to have made more connections. It is worth it. I want to invite you to give it a shot this upcoming month. Look ahead. Pick one weekend of the month to relax. And then after you do that, you find how cool it is. Look at the week, and every week, find one night where you relax. Find one day where you cut yourself off from social media as much. Stretch out that balance of relaxation, my friends. I promise you, you will see amazing results. Here's the next one. I have found that I need to balance out the content that I am consuming and include uplifting content. In these times we live in, of floods, natural disasters, political madness and extremism, and all these crazy things going on around the world, especially for those of us who are social justice activists, for those of us who want to use our leadership to make the world a better place, who want to be there for our families, those of us who want to be community leaders that improve our surroundings, which is probably the majority of us. We can consume content that is educational but a little bit down constantly. There's never going to be an end to somebody on your Facebook wall saying, share this, or if you don't like this, or if you really cared, or if it mattered to you, you'd be there on Saturday. There's never going to be an end to that content. And it's important for us to support those causes. It's important for us to be informed. It's important for us to know what's going on and to give our voice. That's what advocate means. Add your voice to issues that matter and are going to make the world a better place. But we need to balance it out with uplifting content. We need to balance out our days with things that don't just add to our shoulders, add to the weight on our shoulders, that add to that insides. There's a thing called secondhand trauma, that when you read something else, if you're working with somebody and they went through trauma and they share their trauma with you, you can take that trauma on. So when we constantly read articles, we constantly do and see and watch documentaries and all those kind of things, We need to balance that out by also ingesting things that make us laugh, ingesting things that bring us joy. That can be going to a concert, listening to a good song, watching one of our favorite TV shows that just makes you laugh, hanging out with friends and saying, let's not talk about Donald Trump for this time together. We'll talk about him all the other times, but for this time we're together, let's just say, we're going to just talk about goofy things and laugh. And when it comes up, say, well, hang on, that's not for today. You know what I mean? And that's not being an ostrich and burying your head in the sand. That's being a balanced person. And it really helps because we need to have that other perspective. Otherwise, we're going to get jaded. We're going to get burnt out. I'm a big fan of going on Tumblr and searching cat videos or cute koala bears or, looking up really cool videos of people dancing or a new song. What can you do? There's so much out there that also is uplifting. Are you spending time ingesting that as well? That is one of my invitations, my friends, because I have found that balancing out my life like that brings me joy by consuming uplifting content as well. Here comes the next one. It's another area of my life that by bringing balance to, I find joy, is my speed. The speed through which I go through life normally is super quick. I'm getting a lot of emails, all these different ideas, and I'm just going, zoom. I'm going through life like zoom. You can hear it in my voice, right? That I'm usually doing everything 100 miles a minute. And this week, I even had someone just sit me down and be like, Tom, sometimes you just got to slow things down. Even here living in Los Angeles, when I go home to Wisconsin, to like the backwoods or something like that, I even notice I drive slower. I start taking less risks. I see a yellow light as actually meaning slow down rather than a yellow light meaning you better speed up. Our environment can influence how fast we go through life as well. And sometimes maybe you've done this because you were going so quick, you made a silly mistake. You copy and pasted it in an email and forgot to change the person's name. And so when you messaged Muhammad, you said, hey, Sally. I've definitely done that one before because I was going too quick. Or with the eclipse, which came up a couple months ago. I was going through life so quick that it wasn't until 2 days before the eclipse that I said, oh my God, this is something I want to participate in. Where can I get the glasses? And so I went to every 7-Eleven and they were like, kid, are you kidding me? These glasses are like $100 even on Amazon. We are sold out. And I thought, you know what? This is a terrible lesson to have to learn, that because I was going through life so quick that I didn't take time for something like trying to just get eclipse glasses so I could see the eclipse. I did get to see it, thankfully, but I'm just saying how many things in life, because we're going so quick, that we just pass by. If you listen or you read to accounts from people who are near the end of their life, or really famous executives or really successful people, when you read what they're writing about or talking about, one of the things they say if they were to give advice to the younger self was to slow down. You hear that time and time again, people saying, I wish I would have told myself to slow down, especially with the information age and technology. We're so used to having everything like this. You ever notice when you text somebody, they don't text you back and you're thinking, why haven't you texted me back? I messaged you. You should message me right back. We're so used to getting everything like this that we expect our life to be like that, when life is not going to be like this. Think of that tree outside your door. How long that thing took to grow. Talk about patience. We need to invite that into our life. Sometimes slow things down. To go just at a slower pace. And that can look like relaxing, breathing, just calming it down. And that balance can really bring peace of mind, can really bring a new and joyous perspective to your life. Here comes my last one. Whoop. SelfLove. My friends, it's really unfortunate sometimes the way we talk to ourselves. There's a voice inside of us that has been programmed by socialization. It's been programmed by all the negative comments we've been given, by all the times we took a risk, and because of that risk, we got hurt. That voice, since we were little kids, since a young age, was started to be formed in our mind. And it's that voice that makes fun of us every time we make a silly mistake. It's that voice that randomly reminds you of that thing you did 6 years ago that was absolutely embarrassing, and it reminds you to never do that again. That voice that when you try to go for something tells you don't do it, you're stupid, you're a failure, it's not worth it, everybody will laugh at you. That voice, when you make a mistake, it magnifies it. That voice right there, it can be so mean. And what I want to invite us to do is to have balance. And instead, balance it by being the voice that gives yourself love. That you look in the mirror and instead of squeezing the parts of your body that you don't like, saying, "You're sexy." It'd be really ridiculous. Be like, "Body, you're sexy." Remember that episode I have? Love and trust your body? Just be ridiculous. Just saturate yourself with cheesy love. Just be like, "Tom, you're the funniest person ever. Tom," except insert your name. Like, "Tom, you make the best food ever. Tom, you're like the biggest hummus connoisseur. You should be hired by hummus companies all over the world. You're so awesome." Do that to yourself. Spend like a minute a day being the cheesiest fan. Be yourself. What do they call that? The hype up yourself. Be your hype person. Be like the Flava Flav of your band. Like, here this person comes, you rock. Spend time in self-love. Whether that's sleeping, creating, self-talk. Do something that brings you joy. Find time each week, each day, each month, each year. Have routines around all of those to give yourself self-love because you deserve it, because you're amazing. I'm telling you. Oh, man. That was fun. So those are the areas of my life that I have found when I bring balance to. My joy barometer goes through the roof. And not only that, but things like my achievement, my success, what I can accomplish, those kind of things goes through the roof too. So my friends, I want to invite you to reflect upon where in your life do you want to invite balance? And if you resonated with any of the ones that I gave, the thing to do is just to give your attention to them because our attention gives direction. It's that simple. Start giving it attention, and it might not in a day, it might not in a week, but like for me, sometimes it takes 10 months, and next thing you know, you look around and you're like, wow, by giving this thing my attention for 10 months consistently, holy smokes. But have that patience, have that love, and have that respect for yourself. My friends, let me know if you have any questions. And as always, wishing you peace and blessings. Thank you.